Close your eyes, dear listener, and let the world fade away. Tonight, we journey to a time long past, to a place where shadows linger and the air hums with secrets. This is no ordinary tale, it's a true story, woven from the threads of history, whispered by those who lived it. In the early 1800s, in a quiet corner of Tennessee, a family faced something beyond comprehension. They called it the Bell Witch, but what it was, no one could ever truly say. As you settle into the softness of your bed, imagine a creaking farmhouse under a moonless sky, where the wind carries voices that shouldn't be there. This story will unfold in parts, each one pulling you deeper into the mystery. Let the words wrap around you like a blanket, but beware, some blankets hold shadows within their folds. For now, breathe deeply and step with me into the world of the Bell family, where the line between dream and nightmare blurs. It was 1817 in the rolling hills of Robertson County, Tennessee. The land was wild then, a patchwork of dense forests and open fields where settlers carved out lives with sweat and hope. John Bell, a sturdy man with a sharp mind, had brought his family to a 320-acre farm along the Red River. With his wife, Lucy, and their children among them, young Betsy, just 12 years old, they built a home of logs and dreams. The Bells were respected, their fields prosperous, their hearth warm. But beneath the surface of their idyllic life, something was waking. It began with small things, so faint they might have been dismissed as fancy. A knock on the door when no one stood outside. The sound of footsteps packing the porch under a starless sky. At night, the children whispered of scratching noises, like claws dragging across the walls. John and Lucy, practical folk, thought it mice or the settling of old timbers. But the sounds grew bolder. One evening, as the family gathered for supper, a low hum filled the air, not from wind or beast, but from nowhere at all. Plates rattled faintly on the table, and Betsy's eyes widened, her fork frozen in hand. "Father," she said, voice trembling, "did you hear that?" John listened, his brow furrowing. The hum faded, but the silence that followed felt heavier, like a held breath. Days turned to weeks, and the disturbances sharpened. The knocks became bangs, loud enough to jolt the family awake. Betsy's bed covers were yanked off in the dead of night, though no one stood near. Her brothers, sleeping nearby, swore they heard whispers, words too faint to catch, yet laced with malice. Lucy, ever the optimist, prayed for calm, but even she noticed the air in the house felt wrong, as if someone unseen watched from the corners. The Bells kept it quiet at first. Superstition was a heavy burden, and they feared what neighbors might say. But the strangeness crept beyond their walls. A hired hand, tending the fields at dusk, froze as he heard his name called from the trees, not by any voice he knew. He fled, swearing never to return. The family's dogs, once fearless, now whimpered at the door, refusing to step into the dark. One night, Betsy woke screaming. Her parents rushed to her room to find her clutching her cheek, red marks blooming across her skin, as if slapped by an invisible hand. "It pulled my hair," she sobbed, pointing to the empty air. John searched the house, rifle in hand, but found nothing, no sign of intruder, no trace of cause. Yet, as he stood in the quiet, a faint chuckle echoed from the rafters, cold and deliberate. What was this thing that haunted the bells? A trick of the mind, a beast unknown to man, or something older tied to the land they'd claimed? The family couldn't know, not then. But as winter's chill seeped into their home, one truth settled in their bones. Whatever it wasn't leaving. Rest now, listener. The tale has only begun. Let the image of that lonely farmhouse fade as you drift, but hold tight to the whisper of unease, for it will return. As spring of 1818 bloomed, the Bells' farm should have been a place of renewal. But the thing in their home, whatever it was, grew stronger, hungrier. It had a presence now, a weight that pressed against the heart. The knocks and scratches gave way to something far worse, a voice. It started as a murmur, faint as a breeze through dry leaves. At night, when the fire burned low, the family heard it, words slurred, unintelligible, drifting from the walls themselves. Betsy, sensitive to its call, would clutch her mother's hand, whispering, "It's here again." Lucy tried to soothe her, but her own eyes darted to the shadows. John, stubborn and proud, refused to flee. "This is our home," he'd say, though his voice wavered. Then one humid evening, the voice found clarity. The family sat reading scripture, hoping faith might shield them. The air grew thick, and from the corner of the room came a sound like a throat clearing. "I am here," it said, low and deliberate, the words curling like smoke. The children froze. Lucy's Bible slipped from her hands. John stood, demanding, "Who speaks? Show yourself." The voice laughed, a dry, scraping sound. "I need no face to be known," it said. "I see you, John Bell. I see your sins." From that night, the entity spoke freely. It called itself a spirit, though it gave no name at first. It knew things, private things. It recounted a quarrel between John and a neighbor, word for word, though no one else had been there. It whispered to Betsy about a boy she admired, secrets she'd buried deep. To Lucy, it sang hymns in a voice that mimicked her late mother, bringing tears before twisting into mockery. The voice wasn't confined to the house. In the fields, it taunted workers, mimicking their wives' voices to lure them into the woods. Travelers passing the farm swore they heard shouts from the trees, only to find emptiness. The Bells' neighbors began to talk, not with scorn, but fear. Some spoke of Kate Batts, a local woman who'd clashed with John over land. Had her bitter words cursed the family? Others whispered of older legends, of spirits tied to the river, restless since the land was tamed. Betsy bore the worst. The entity fixated on her, a cruel obsession. Her bed shook at night, covers ripped away. Invisible hands pinched her arms, leaving bruises like fingerprints. Once, as she combed her hair, the mirror reflected not her face, but a shadow with gleaming eyes. She screamed, and the voice hissed, "You're mine, girl." Lucy prayed over her, but the entity only laughed. "No book can bind me," it said. Word spread, and curiosity drew outsiders. Preachers came, Bibles in hand, only to flee when the voice mocked their sermons. A doctor from Nashville examined Betsy, muttering of hysteria, until the voice named his darkest doubt, a patient he'd failed years ago. He left pale and silent. John's strength began to crack. The voice targeted him relentlessly, accusing him of wrongs no one could verify. "You'll pay, John Bell," it vowed. His hands trembled now, his sleep plagued by visions of a figure at his bedside, faceless yet watching. What did it want? Why this family, this man? The answers hid in the dark, just out of reach. Breathe deeply, listener. The night is long, and the story twists further. Let the voices echo fade as you sink into stillness, but know it waits to speak again. By 1819, the Bell Farm was a place of dread. The entity now called the witch by those who dared name it had woven itself into every moment. The family lived on edge, their laughter replaced by whispers, their sleep broken by fear. Yet, life demanded they endure. Crops needed tending, and neighbors, though wary, still came to trade. But no one lingered past dusk. The witch's power grew stranger. It wasn't just a voice now, it moved things. Candles snuffed themselves, only to relight in empty rooms. Chairs toppled when backs were turned. Once, Lucy found her sewing basket spilled. The threads knotted into symbols no one could read. The air around the house felt charged, like the moments before a storm. Betsy, now 14, seemed its favorite target. Her attacks worsened, slaps became blows. Her body lifted inches off the floor before crashing down. She'd wake gasping, claiming something heavy sat on her chest. Her suitor, Joshua Gardner, a brave young man, vowed to protect her, but the witch mocked him. "She'll never be yours," it snarled, and Joshua's horse bolted one night, nearly killing him. Betsy wept, torn between love and fear of what her presence might cost. John, too, suffered. His tongue swelled at times, choking his words, a torment the witch claimed as its own. "Feel my grip, John," it taunted. His face grew gaunt, his eyes hollow. Lucy, the family's anchor, held them together, but even she faltered when the witch mimicked her voice to lure Betsy into the cellar, locking the door behind her. Betsy was found hours later, shivering, muttering of eyes in the dark. Yet the witch wasn't always cruel. It sang to the younger children old ballads in a voice almost kind. It debated scripture with preachers, quoting verses with eerie precision. To visitors, it offered riddles, promising truths if they stayed. Few did. One man, a skeptic named William Porter tried to trap it, wrapping a quilt around what he thought was its form. The quilt collapsed, empty, and the witch's laughter chased him into the night. The strangest tales came from outsiders. General Andrew Jackson himself, then a hero of war, heard of the witch and rode to the farm with his men, curious for a challenge. As their wagons neared, the wheels locked tight. "It's the witch," Jackson muttered, half laughing. A voice replied, "I'll see you tonight, General." That night, screams echoed from his camp. Men swore something unseen tore through their tents. By dawn, Jackson was gone, saying only, "I'd rather face the British again than that thing." What was it? The witch claimed many origins, a spirit wronged by John, a force born of the earth, even a watcher from beyond. Each answer felt like a trick. Clues piled up, but led nowhere. A neighbor found bones near the river, too old to be recent, yet fresh enough to unsettle. Betsy dreamed of a woman in black, pointing to the fields, but digging revealed nothing. The witch thrived on questions, offering just enough to keep fear alive. Rest now, listener. The shadows creep closer, but your bed is safe. Let the farm's secrets blur as you drift, though the witch's gaze lingers. Winter of 1820 cloaked the Bell farm in frost, but no cold could banish the witch. It was part of them now, a shadow stitched to their lives. The family's hope frayed, their prayers drowned by the entity's voice. John Bell, once a pillar, was crumbling. Betsy, caught in its grasp, fought to hold her spirit intact. And Lucy, the heart of the home, searched for light in a growing dark. John's torment peaked. The witch cursed him openly, its voice booming through the house. "Your time is near, John Bell," it vowed. His body betrayed him, spasms seized his limbs, his jaw locked for hours. Neighbors whispered of poison, but no doctor found a cause. At night, he'd wake to find his shoes filled with water, though the house was dry. The witch taunted, "I'll walk you to your grave." Betsy's suffering mirrored her father's. The witch sabotaged her dreams of marriage, driving Joshua away with threats. "No ring for you," it hissed, and Betsy's ring finger swelled painfully for days. She saw things now, shapes in the fog, a figure at the edge of the woods, always gone when she blinked. Once, she found a scrap of cloth in her room, embroidered with her initials, though she'd never sewn it. The witch laughed when she burned it, yet the entity's reach stretched beyond the bells. A neighbor's barn caught fire after he scoffed at the tale. Another man, a friend of John, heard his dead son's voice calling from the river. He waded in and nearly drowned. The witch seemed to feed on doubt, growing bolder, with each disbeliever it humbled. The family tried everything. Preachers held vigils, but candles died in their hands. A medicine man from a nearby tribe spoke of spirits angered by broken earth, but his chants only angered the witch, which screamed in tongues none could name. Lucy scattered herbs, hoping folklore might help, witch scattered them back, whispering, "No charm holds me." Then came the final blow. On December 20, 1820, John Bell collapsed in his bed, barely breathing. His family found him unresponsive, a strange vial of dark liquid on his bedside table. Lucy, frantic, called for help, but the witch's voice filled the room. "I gave it to him. He's mine now." A doctor tested the liquid on a cat, which died in moments. John lingered through the night, his eyes wide with terror, as if seeing something no one else could. By morning, he was gone. The witch's glee was unbearable. "I've done it," it crowed, its voice echoing across the farm. At John's funeral, as mourners sang hymns, laughter rang from the trees, chilling every soul. The vial was never explained, its contents unknown, its origin a void. Had the witch truly killed him? Or had fear and exhaustion claimed a broken man? Breathe slowly, listener. The tale nears its end, and the night grows soft. Let John's shadow fade as you sink deeper, but the witch isn't done. With John Bell's death, the farm felt hollow, as if the witch had taken more than a life. Yet it didn't leave. For months, it lingered, its presence lighter, but no less unsettling. Betsy, now 15, bore its weight most. The attacks slowed, but the voice still whispered her name, promising to return if she strayed too far. She broke her engagement with Joshua, fearing the witch's wrath. "You're free," it mocked, though freedom felt like chains. Lucy and the children clung to routine, tending the farm under watchful eyes. The witch spoke less, but its tricks persisted, spoons bending, doors creaking open, a laugh from the attic. Neighbors swore they saw lights in the fields at night, flickering where no lantern burned. One spring evening, the witch spoke clearly for the last time. "I'll go," it said, "but not forever. Look for me when the river runs red." With that, it fell silent. The bells waited tense, but the air lightened. Months passed without a whisper. Betsy grew, married another man, and left Tennessee as if distance could erase the past. The farm stood quiet, its story spreading as legend. Yet questions gnawed. What was the witch? Some pointed to Kate Batts, though she denied any curse. Others spoke of native spirits, disturbed by settlers' greed. A few, bolder, claimed it was no spirit at all, but something older, a force that wore names like masks. The land held clues, never answers. In 1840, a farmer near the Bell plot found a cave with strange markings, circles and eyes scratched into stone. In 1894, a writer named Ingram collected the family's accounts, swearing every word was true. Yet even he admitted gaps. The vial from John's bedside vanished, its mystery intact. Betsy's dreams, she later said, never fully left her. She'd wake hearing whispers, though none came. The Bell Witch became folklore, but Tennessee folk don't laugh it off. The farm's ruins draw seekers, some claiming voices in the wind. The cave, now called the Bell Witch Cave, hums with unease. Visitors report footsteps behind them, though no one follows. river, too, holds its secrets. In 1920, it ran red with clay after a storm, and locals whispered of the witch's return. What lingers most is the why. Why the bells? Why John? Why Betsy? Was it vengeance, mischief, or something beyond human grasp? The truth hides in the dark, listener, where it's always been. Perhaps it watches still, waiting for a name to call. But that's a thought for another night. Let the farm fade, let the whispers dissolve. You're here, safe, the world quiet around you. The witch's tale is done for now. And so, dear listener, we leave the Bell family behind, their story a shadow cast across time. The farmhouse is gone, the river flows on, and the witch, whatever it was, rests in silence, or so we hope. As you lie there, wrapped in the warmth of your bed, let the mystery slip away like fog at dawn. No knocks will find you tonight. No voices whisper your name. Feel your breath slow, each inhale pulling you deeper into peace. The world is soft now, a canvas of stars above, a cradle of stillness below. The tale has woven its spell, and you've walked its paths bravely. Now, let those paths fade. Picture a quiet meadow, grass swaying under moonlight, the air cool and kind. You're weightless here, carried by the night's embrace. Sleep calls, gentle and sure. Let it take you, let it hold you. The witch's secrets can wait, tomorrow is far away, and this moment is yours. Drift, dear listener, drift into dreams where no shadows follow. Good night.